And in this tutorial, we're going to take a look at how we can use Google Hangouts and YouTube to take our message out to a really wide audience. I'm also going to show you how you can combine Google Hangouts, YouTube, and Facebook to create some great buzz around your message. So in the first video on Google Hangouts, I showed you how to create a private Google Hangout. In this video, we're going to take a look at how we can actually create a Google Hangout that goes live. I essentially use Google Hangouts for all of my live shows. It's absolutely wonderful. I absolutely love it, and I love some of the perks that you're able to get because this is being recorded through YouTube. Now, let's get started. So you would need essentially a Gmail account. I think that's the easiest way for you to get started. You would need to get a Google Plus account, and you could, it's very simple. You just go to google.com and you type in Google Plus in the search box, and it will give you the link. You will join if you don't have a Google Plus account yet. If you already have one, then you're simply going to sign in. And then you're going to scroll down right here on the left-hand side. You're going to see 3 buttons. It says More. You're going to scroll to the third one, and you're going to have that yellow call out with the camera. And you're going to start a Google Hangout. Once you started your Google Hangout, you're going to invite the person or the people you want to be part of this Hangout, this conversation. In my case, I do one-on-one interviews. I do also a few panel discussions, but what I'm going to do is I am going to just do a simple Google Hangout one-on-one with somebody. So I'm going to invite somebody. In this case, this is a guest who's going to be on the show, and I can do that. I could add an email address. It will take any email address. I always say if the person has a Gmail account, it's actually even better. One thing that you're going to notice when you log in is right here at the bottom where you see my static image, you would actually see your video camera. In this case, I've actually turned off my video camera. You can see it here. And if I clicked on this, it will turn it back on. You can have up to 9 people, just like you would in the private area. However, what's going to change is pretty much how this is going to be broadcast. So you would put the name of the show or the Google Hangout. And what you're going to do that's different from what I showed you in the previous video is that you're actually going to click on Enable Hangout on Air. It's going to ask you, are you sure you want this to air on your YouTube channel? And the answer to that is yes. So you're okay. So what's going to happen, and I'm going to click here on Hangout. And now I'm basically waiting for my guests. And I'm going to show you how to get started. I open everything on my Chrome, my Google Chrome browser, because my YouTube account for business is set up on my Google Chrome browser. And it makes it much easier here. And I'm going to show you some of the different tests that I've conducted for my Google Hangout. I've actually kept all of the tests specifically for a good reason. This here was my first live episode, and it's closed now. I mean, this was how many people sort of showed up, and it was our first one, and I did not even advertise it at all because I was so worried that I still had not mastered the technology, and now I've actually set it to private, but I'm going to show you all of that in a few minutes. So here we are back at our Hangout. So what's going to happen is I'm going to wait for my guests to come in. Now I can chat with my guests, and the guests here will be able to see this information here. Now, what would happen is there's a little sound, a little tick that happens when people log in, and you're going to know when that person is in. And I would start the broadcast. It's going to, again, prompt, make sure, hey, you know what, your broadcast is going to be public. And yes, I do want that. And here's a countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. So now my broadcast is public. That is wonderful. So if I were to go to my YouTube account, I would actually be able to check out the broadcast. So what I do when I'm about to start my show, As I'm waiting for my guest, I would do a few essential things. For instance, I would grab my embed link. I'll copy here in a notepad, and I'm going to extract the direct URL. What I would do is I would grab this link here, or exactly this link. I would copy it and I would go to my blog, because what I do is I share a URL that is hosted on my blog to my audience so that they don't get confused and there are too many places they have to figure out, well, where is this show airing? So what I would do is I would basically, as I'm waiting, because I always get on with my guests about 15 to 20 minutes early. This gives us a chance to test audio, test video, make sure they can log in, and I'm able to promote that link. So what I would do is I would essentially come here, and you have the visual, and then you have the HTML. I would come here to HTML, and I would affix right here the iframe code. Now, there are a couple of codes that you can take. You can actually go into your YouTube account and you could use the old code, or you could use the iframe code. If you are on a WordPress blog, in order for this iframe to show up, you're going to have to download a plugin that actually allows iframe videos to show up on your blog, and that's just a very simple thing. You would just basically go under plugin here, you would add new plugin, you would type iframe, and the first one that comes up is the one that you should go with. And I'll show you this. I'm just going to finish this so that you can see what happens. So what you would do is you basically would update this, and this will actually give you the YouTube window inside the post. So there we have it. I'm going to show you how to grab the iframe plugin. Basically, here in your WordPress blog, you have the option to add a new plugin, and you would just simply find the plugin, iframe. I've looked for it before, and it will search. And there's another one here. Actually, no, it's here. As you can see, iframe. This one here is the one that I already have installed, and it will walk you through. So basically, you would. If this was the one, I mean, I can't do it because it's already installed, but you would just click on install now and it will prompt you, and it's quite easy. Let's go back to the post. So what would happen is once I have that iframe link inside that post, I would go to the post itself. As you can see here, the video has been added. As you can see, interview with Sarah test. This is what I'm creating for this purpose. And all my guests would simply have to click here and it would actually show, the interview would show live. I'm not going to do it here because what happens is that you cannot click on this while you are live because you are going to have a terrible echo. So you could really only do one at a time, and I definitely want to preserve your ears. So this is basically what this would look like. It's fantastic, and this here would be the link that I share with my audience. Now what I would do is I would grab this link and I would share it on Facebook, on Twitter, on Google+, on my Facebook fan page, on LinkedIn, to basically share and say to people, hey, come on, we're live. It's almost 1 o'clock. Come and join us. Come with your questions. This is the link as well. We actually set these posts in advance on the blog. Therefore, we're able to have that link in advance. I can ask the expert to share that link with their social media platform, and I take that link and I also share it on my newsletter so my audience knows 3 days in advance that we're going to have a live stream, 2 or 3 days in advance. We're going to have a live stream show, and it is actually going to be featured on this URL. The only thing they have to do is click on that URL, and they will be here live, and they just will have to click on this, and it will be very, very easy. Now, what is very cool with the way I set things up is the fact that it is on my blog, and on my blog all of my comments have been replaced with the Facebook comment, and I'm going to share this with you here. As you can see, here we go. So here are a few comments. So any comments that's happening, I'm going to type it right here. And once I comment on it, then automatically I'm not signed up in my Facebook account on my Firefox platform. I am on Safari, but I just want to make sure that you understand how this works. So any comments that's typed here or that I type during the show appears automatically on my Facebook personal account, and anybody else who responds, also there's going to be that share that this person is responding to this post basically, or this message coming from Attract More Clients Easily, which is basically my site. The exciting thing with that is that it creates a sense of it becomes viral without doing anything, without much effort other than allowing Facebook to help me, because Facebook does that really well. So again, as I want to share with you, it's important for me to share this one because this one I did not promote to my list. I literally promoted on social media the absolute last second because I was still testing out the technology. But even with that, I was able to get quite a few shares on Twitter and Facebook, and that was really exciting. Now, the other thing is, once the interview is done, and I'm going to go into my YouTube control panel and I'll show you how it works. Once the interview is done, there are a lot of things that you could do with this, and that's why this combination of Google Hangout, YouTube, and Facebook is just so absolutely amazing. And if you can't tell yet, I am just so thrilled and excited. So what would happen, and this is still being broadcast. Right here, you can take a look at, this is the admin area of my YouTube account. So what would happen, and these are tests. I've been running tests for a bit, and as you can see here, yes, I really wanted to make sure this was perfect. I have a number of tests that I've conducted, some on my own, and some I've conducted with a few people who are willing to help. And this was the test that really got me excited, and this was the test that actually really made me understand the potential with Google Hangouts. We have 22 views, and we have 17 comments, and the comments were really basically among us. So I had 4 friends testing this out and helping me, and we were all commenting on YouTube because we were trying to figure out how this works, because initially it's not always all that obvious, and I'm going to show you why. Now, what happens is that as we were commenting, and as we were commenting on my blog, there are a few people on Facebook who were wondering, well, what's going on? Why are these people commenting? What's the frantic comment series, all about? And there are people who became so curious about all of us commenting on Facebook that they became friends, and then they became fans on my Facebook fan page, all from a test. So it's amazing. I could not believe that a simple test would actually get 22 people. So imagine if this had been something that had been well choreographed, in a sense that I had promoted this well in advance, I'd shared it with my list well in advance, shared it on social media well in advance. Imagine the number of people who actually would be willing to attend. Now, the other reason why I post this on my blog is because in terms of comments, you can only comment on a YouTube video if you have a YouTube account. Not everybody who's going to be watching your live show or your video or your live interview will have a YouTube account, and not everybody will be inclined to get a YouTube account just for the purposes of commenting on your video. So that is one of the reasons why it's just so much more practical. And also people know where to comment. If you guide them and say you can comment at the bottom of this page, and then I keep this browser open at the same time as I have the browser where I have my guest, and I'm able to manage both browsers. I actually would diminish this and make it just a little bit smaller. And therefore, I'm able to manage both browsers, and I'm able to see when somebody comments by refreshing the page. And that's how I've been managing it, and it's actually really practical. Now, in terms of recording, I always do a backup recording. So I always will have ScreenFlow recording what appears on my screen. But the beautiful thing is, because I decided to broadcast this on YouTube, what happens is that it is recorded on YouTube, as you can see here. The other beautiful thing is, and I'm going to show you this, especially for this one. When I recorded this first interview with Cindy Ashton, we were 20 minutes early on the Google Hangout. And because we were 20 minutes early, we weren't talking for 20 minutes. So this actually video was over an hour after we were done because it was really 20 minutes that we just weren't doing anything. And I thought, oh, what a shame. I really don't want that. So what I did is I went into the info setting, and again, I did not want to remove the 28 views or 24 views because that's kind of important to me. But what I did is I went under the enhancement, and it actually allowed me to edit. So this is where I used the Google editing tool to edit that first 20 minutes where
windows, and I'm trying.
Nothing was happening, and I thought, oh, this is so dreadful to have that first part. So that's exactly what I did. I was able to edit that first part and keep the views, which is just fantastic. I mean, it's a very simple tool. So what I would do once this is done, these interviews go into a private membership. So obviously, I don't necessarily want them to be all open, but I'm able to share the link with the expert by basically unlisting it, so it's not going to be public. So it's really only people who know of the URL who can see it. That's one option. The other option is that I can download, and this is absolutely brilliant. I can download this Hangout as an MP3, should I say. I can download the Hangout as an MP4, and I can upload the MP4, and actually I just want to warn you, it does take a little bit of time for the full video to download. I can upload it into my iMovie, and I can edit it. I can put my intro and my outro, and I can basically brand the video, and then I can upload it again, and I can have a snippet, because I usually just publish snippets, so 5-10 minutes, so that I can actually use the content in a membership site. Now, obviously, if it's open, people aren't necessarily going to want to pay for something that they can get for free. So those are a couple of really cool functions. So I can still have the full interview, and if the expert wants to see it that way, that's fine. But most of the experts actually do want to have the branded video with my brand. So that actually works really, really well. One thing that I want to mention, and that is something that I learned during my second test, is that I thought that I was going to be clever and not have to edit that first part where, as I've shared with you, I have to wait for the guest to join, and I'm waiting, and then I'm posting the URL to the blog on different social media platforms. And of course, it's clear that I'm actually working and I'm not doing an interview. So I wanted to eliminate that, and I thought, oh, I am going to be so clever. So what I did is I got on, I was still waiting for the guest. I clicked on I didn't even click on the broadcast. I grabbed the embedded link and I put it on my blog. Unfortunately, that did not work because YouTube didn't like that and YouTube did not record it. So you've got to follow the steps, and you want to start by clicking on the broadcast as you're waiting for all your guests or the other people who are going to be part of this hangout to arrive. Once that is clicked and it's actually recording, because once you click this, it actually starts the recording. Then you grab your embedded link, then you put it on your blog, then you share that. And yes, all of this is going to be captured on film, but it's very simple. Once the hangout is over, you could simply go right here under enhancement, and you could do some light editing. It's a very simple tool. It's a very simple tool. You basically determine how much you want to edit, and then you just basically trim it. It's very, very simple, and it really keeps your views. So as you can see here, this is how this works. And actually, let me go in and I will click on this. As you can see, although this is unlisted, it still plays.
I have a few too many windows, and I'm trying to go. Okay, here we go. We're set. Okay.
So this little part there, I'm going to stop. That little part there is almost too short for me to edit. It's 8 seconds, and that YouTube editing tool is not as precise as the iMovie, so I've had a little bit of difficulty removing that part, but I decided, you know what, such is life, it's live. I will hold on to it. So let me show this to you.
I shouldn't do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 because people are live, so I have to again change my hat. Okay, so welcome.
So there you go. So I'm going to show you how things change when the guest is speaking versus when I'm speaking.
Communicate best by networking. I communicate.
As you can see here, when I'm speaking, my image shows, and when Cindy is speaking, her image shows here, and both of us are still at the bottom. It's just really a great interactive tool, and it's not as boring because a conversation, people go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and therefore the screen and what people or what your audience is seeing is not the same image throughout the entire interview, and that really makes it exciting. And what I found is, in some cases, we were talking fairly quickly, and the image was changing very, very quickly. So there you have it. You have what not to do. So basically, you don't want to embed this link on your blog until you've actually started broadcasting. That's very important. Once you're done and once the interview is done, then you can end the broadcast, and the broadcast has been successfully terminated, and it's going to actually start rendering that video file on YouTube. And right now, I can exit. And if I had a guest, then basically it would end it all, but it's still going to end it because I don't have a guest, but still. So here it's going to let me know that a broadcast will now be available on my YouTube channel. Perfect. Close that. It's most likely going to take a few hours. These files take a bit of time. So if you expect that it's going to be 2 or 3 hours, it may take a little bit longer for the file to compress. So as you can see, Google Hangouts is very practical, it's very easy. That combination with YouTube is fantastic. And when you combine Google Hangouts with YouTube and Facebook, then the viral opportunity becomes really huge. And it's simple, it's easy, it's recorded for you. You still have access to the full video by downloading it, so you could still brand it. As you can see, I'm a fan. I'm excited. I'm just starting to use it, and I know that I'm just going to get more and more comfortable with the Google Hangouts, and I'll also discover a lot of great ways of using it. And as I discover these great ways of using Google Hangouts, I'll be more than happy to share. I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial. I'll definitely see you in another tutorial, but don't forget, if you are looking for more of these tutorials, I have plenty of them, and you can check it all out at attractmoreclientstraining.com. Thank you so much for watching.